The Denver Nuggets made a statement to the rest of the NBA with their win over the Boston Celtics last night. That statement made it clear in no uncertain terms that this team is a real threat to make it to the finals and maybe even win it all. Currently the sole holder of the number 1 seed in the Western Conference, the Nuggets, led by Nikola Jokic mounting a convincing case to win his 3rd MVP, are currently taking the league by storm. If Jokic were to win another MVP this year, it would be the first time a player has won 3 consecutive MVPs since Larry Bird, and only the 3rd time a player has won 3 consecutive MVPs in NBA history. The big difference between this year's Nuggets team and last year's Nuggets team is largely based on their health. They have Michael Porter Jr. back, and he's everything they've wanted and then some, and Jamal Murray, despite being in and out of the lineup, is slowly working his way back to being his old self. They're getting meaningful contributions from their young guys and supporting cast off the bench, and if the argument last year against Jokic winning MVP was the fact that Denver was a 6th seed, then it's hard to argue against him this year given that Denver currently holds the number 1 seed. This is unquestionably the best season of Jokic's career as he continues to do stuff that has otherwise never been done before by a center. He's currently the only player in the entire NBA averaging 25 points, 8 rebounds, and 8 assists on more than 60% shooting from the field. He continues to grow as a scorer, but his passing is shining through now more than ever, averaging a career-high 9.5 assists, and solidifying himself as one of the greatest passers of all time, and making it hard to argue that he's not the greatest offensive center ever. A common misconception about Jokic's passing ability is that he's reliant on things like dribble handoffs to generate his assists. More credit is oftentimes given to passers that manipulate defenses and make all these fancy passes, and for some reason DHOs are looked down upon by some because they're seen as a rudimentary part of mostly every center's game. And while I don't really agree with that sentiment at all, it's definitely not the only way by which Jokic is able to generate his assists. He's fantastic at manipulating defenses and finding other ways to generate looks for his teammates outside of simply setting a screen and handing the ball off to him. He's going to set this screen on Patrick Beverley, and it's actually going to serve 2 purposes. One, it's going to open up a potential pass to Reed on the flare to the left side wing, but it also forces Lonnie Walker to shift up onto Reed, leaving AD essentially guarding 2 different players at once with Jokic and Aaron Gordon. So when Jokic slips off of Beverley to get the pass near the free throw line, this forces Davis to step up onto him, leaving Aaron Gordon open near the dunker spot to get the easy dunk. An important aspect of Jokic's game is how he uses the interior scoring gravity that he possesses to create looks for his teammates. Teams are forced to pay extra attention to him when he's posting up because he's the most lethal post scorer in the NBA right now. As a matter of fact, of all players attempting more than 3 post-ups per game, Jokic is the most efficient at 62.3% shooting on post-ups. He'll orchestrate the offense and get guys in positions that he wants them to be in before he even has the ball in his hands so that he can execute things once he does. Here, Jokic is going to point KCP to the corner in order to clear out some space in the paint so that he can drive when he gets the pass from Murray. Also, take note of how Najee and MPJ are standing next to one another with Harrison Barnes over in the corner. This is actually by design. When Jokic spins on Alex Len on the drive, it's going to draw a double team from Murray, leaving Barnes as the lone defender on MPJ and Najee, and since Barnes commits more to the corner kickout, it allows Jokic to make the slick feed to MPJ coming off of the cut for the easy finish. There's a level of simplicity that you can see when watching Jokic play. Like I mentioned, he knows how to take advantage of defenses doubling him when he's posting up, and he doesn't always have to do anything fancy in order to create perimeter opportunities for his teammates. He gets the feed from Brown, but the defense doesn't quite commit enough for his liking, so he passes it back out just to get the ball back again. Now Jokic starts to back down his defender, waiting for the exact moment that KPJ commits to the double team before he sends the pass out to Brown for the catch and shoot opportunity. Even just the threat of passing to a perimeter shooter out of the post is something else that Jokic uses to his advantage. Troy Brown Jr. is initially guarding Aaron Gordon near the paint, but Troy Brown recognizes that KCP is waiting in the corner. Jokic is going to make the pass look as though it's going to be a kick out to KCP for the 3, but he instead sends it to Aaron Gordon in the paint for the dunk. When you consider his ability to manipulate defenses in a half-court setting, it's no surprise that Denver currently holds the 4th best half-court offense in the NBA with 101.7 points per 100 possessions. They're one of only 5 teams in the NBA averaging more than 100 points per 100 possessions in the half-court. We can take that a step further, though, to get a better picture of how Jokic impacts their offense, elevating it to an absolutely elite level. When Jokic is on the floor for Denver, they have an offensive rating of 107.9 in the half-court. When he's off the floor, that number drops down to only 89.4. That 107.9 half-court offense would be handedly the number 1 half-court offense in the NBA, but their half-court offense when he's off the floor is good for the 2nd worst in the NBA. It's really hard to exaggerate how much of an impact he has for their offense because he is their offense. And while his playmaking in a half-court setting is undeniably incredible, he also possesses transcendent passing ability when the Nuggets are getting out and running in transition. Now, we all know that Jokic isn't the fastest or most athletic player on the planet, but that doesn't prevent him from pushing the pace in transition and forcing the defense into uncomfortable situations where they're left scrambling to get set to slow them down. You can see Jeremiah Robinson-Earl trying to get OKC into position when Denver is getting the ball up the floor, and Jokic's drive forces the defense to have to try and provide help on the drive and the cut by Aaron Gordon, which leaves the pass to the corner open for the shot. This play is great because he gets the rebound off of the shot and he doesn't even bring the ball down or touch it with the other hand before throwing the touchdown pass to MPJ on the other side of the floor. He makes these kinds of passes look so easy when the truth is that there really aren't many players in the NBA capable of making such difficult passes with the accuracy that he does on such a consistent basis. Denver's bringing the ball up on the fast break, and with Utah loaded up on the left side of the court, he threads this nice pass to Jamal Murray on the cut to the rim through 2 defenders for the easy finish. You can generate some really easy looks when pushing the pace if you have a player who's capable of finding guys who are already in position to score, and Jokic does that for the Nuggets. It's why they're the 4th best transition offense in the NBA so far this season. And since we've been talking about impact on the offensive end, let's just go ahead and look at their offense as a whole. When the Nuggets have Nikola Jokic on the floor, they clock an impressive offensive rating of 124.3 points per 100 possessions to pair with an equally impressive net rating of 11.4 according to cleaningtheglass.com. You can really see just how important he is when you look at their numbers when he's off the floor. The Nuggets record only 105.6 points per 100 possessions when he's off the floor, and they have a pretty unsettling negative 16.3 net rating. That means Nikola Jokic has an insane 27.7 on-off swing. While Jokic is the very definition of valuable, given how much he does for them, there's still some holes that Denver needs to patch. Their 3-headed monster of Jokic, Murray, and Michael Porter Jr. is great, and I'd even argue that their bench isn't in the worst spot compared to some other contenders. To me, their biggest need right now is a backup point guard that can orchestrate the offense with the second unit. This is what Monte Morris was doing for them in previous seasons, but now that he's gone and Bones Hyland is still developing into a reliable offensive facilitator, they could really use someone like a Trey Jones from San Antonio or a Jordan Goodwin from Washington. If they made a trade for one of these guys, it would be the final piece of the puzzle to really take them up a notch from true contender to legitimate title favorite. As I've covered, things kind of fall apart when Jokic isn't on the floor, so remedying this to even a small extent would do wonders for their ability to hang with the top teams, regardless of whether or not Jokic is on the floor, and that's the big key here. Jokic can do so much for you when he's on the floor, but you still have to maintain those leads that are built when he's off the floor. But even if they don't make a trade for a backup point guard, they're still in a really good spot sitting at the number 1 seed in the Western Conference, and during their win against the Celtics last night, their bench looked arguably the best it's ever been against a Boston Celtics team that's known for their elite defense. If this level of play becomes the norm for them, it's hard to imagine that they aren't the favorites to come out of the Western Conference. So do you think that Jokic is going to win his 3rd straight MVP? Will the Nuggets make it out of the West? Be sure to let me know what you think in the comments. If you guys enjoyed this video and you want to see more like this, let me know in the comments, and be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Thank you guys so much for watching and supporting me, and I'll see you in the next one.